Well, hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a pretty sick high grade, and it's quite the big boy. This has kind of made me question my whole setup for reviewing. I can't even see if I'm showing this properly because that box is huge. Yep, Psycho Gundam, high grade. Look at that box. I mean, if you know the Psycho Gundam, first appeared in Zeta. It's larger than the typical mobile suit. But I was curious, is this actually to scale? And I think so, and we'll do some comparisons. I have a Zeta Mark II. We can do some comparisons. But yeah, look at... oh, you can hear all my little nubs in there, maybe. Okay, that sounded odd. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Give this video a like if, as you're watching it, you think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think about my Gunpla reviews, what things you want to see maybe that I'm not pointing out. But also, check the links in the description for the Discord, which is pretty cool. We're showing off some Gunpla stuff. So, yeah, let's get started. When it comes to filming these sort of videos, it's usually pretty easy for me. I have a setup that it works really well. I just move my keyboard out of the way. I put my cutting mat here, and I could just work on my desk, just so I don't have to worry about setting up space. But with this thing, with the size of it, I had to think about this a little bit with the camera, pulling it back, raising it a little bit. So hopefully you get the full experience out of this. And really, just by taking a look at it, it is anime accurate to what we see in Zeta Gundam. It looks great. You know, this is a straight build. It was done pretty quick. It was over a course of 2 days that I built it. But if I had sat down and just completed it there, maybe an hour or two, I think. I mean, this really is just a larger high grade. And there's some downsides to that, and I'll get to that shortly. But, just looking at after I did the build, I didn't apply any of the panel lining. There's some areas I would want to do that in, maybe like with the particle cannons here, up at the visor, maybe some other areas on here, like the hands. But I kind of want to stick with this for now. I'm going to have this on the shelf with my other Zeta robot spirits. And just see over time if I feel like I need to add that additional detail. I just don't want it to look too much like a Gunpla. There's something that maybe I'm the only one, where sometimes panel lining can be overdone and it really just looks like it's like the panel lining is now just like a thing instead of the intent to, one, maybe panel lining for the anime look, but two, from my background, I guess with action figures, is that detailed wash, having the dark and the crevices to kind of help bring out some of the looks. And I just think this looks good out of the box like this. Maybe a couple places I might do some paint, but slight areas. Other than that, really, this thing looks good. For articulation, let's see what we can do here. Yeah, we've got the head that, moves like a typical Gundam head. It moves all around. As we go, you'll see where there's some interesting places of articulation because of the transformation that I'll get to shortly. The arms, they move as you would expect a high grade to. There is maybe some slight limitations. This seems like a good nearly 90. Sometimes we can see them go up a little more, like on Robot Spirits and Gunpla in general, but, that's fine. The main area is going to be the waist, or the abdomen. There's no articulation here. In fact, there's areas where I had to use screws. I think maybe 5 to 7 total that I had to use, which I guess is to keep this solid, and there's articulation where it matters most. The arms, the legs, having the thigh swivel and the ball-jointed hips or up at the shoulders. I mean, that's the most important thing here. So because of that, I'm not too worried is not the word, unhappy about this sort of limited abdomen and waist articulation. In fact, I wonder if it was built more like a standard high grade, just gigantic in terms of having the little ball joint piece in the waist here, and then maybe the abdomen being the two pieces that move. Could that cause some issues due to the size, due to the added weight? I gotta say, when it comes to the weight, the shield, the mechanism they're using for the arm, for the shield to hold on is fantastic, because this doesn't feel like there's any issue with holding up the arm with the shield. Very well done. And then you get the typical skirt stuff. Let's see the side skirts here. It's interesting because they do move, but they're also two pieces that are together, but then they come apart for the transformation that I'll get to shortly. I guess we want to turn around and get a good look at the backside. Just what you would expect. I think this kind of detail is pretty cool here. How it's kind of like the underside of the armor, but I mean, this thing just looks cool. Like, I think it's worth it. Anyone that likes Zeta or Gunpla, this seems like a must, especially when you get to the finger articulation. This isn't anything like we see from the Origin or with the my favorite is not only the Zaku 2 Master Grade, but the second RX-78-2. Those fingers are fantastic. This one is a little more limited, but you can't even really tell. And in fact, you can really get the stuff. I mean, you can make it look weird, like poor thing has arthritis, but you can also get it where you want it to, and even form the fists if needed. Yeah, I mean, you got to get it to look right, but you can, and it's done very well. I got to say, for the price, it's around $70. The size, and it being a relatively easy and fun build. Totally worth it. Here we go. This is the Ka signature, Mark II. This is the one. It's technically the Super Gundam because it came with that. I forget the name all of a sudden. It's not G Fighter, G Defensor. There you go. But yeah, we could see almost like trying to mimic the screen above. Actually, let me pull this back just a little bit. We got the Mark II. With the Psycho Gundam up there. Pretty neat. I love the way this looks. I mean, I could really set up something cool for these two to face off. Again, in the Discord, there's a picture I have of my Zeta shelf, and where I would put the Psycho Gundam, and then I put it in its spot, but I might change it around and mimic the Hong Kong scene from Zeta Gundam. And then here is the Zeta, obviously, and up against that, the Psycho Gundam. Again, the scale is excellent. This is a metal robot spirit, or wait a minute, is it? Yeah. Actually, there's metal pieces. I forget if actually the full metal robot spirits, but I just love that I can combine stuff from the high grade line of Gunpla with robot spirits and really pull off any sort of display I want that represents stuff from Zeta Gundam. I'm a fan of the real type marking. Not necessarily on the Psycho Gundam. I haven't really seen anything that kind of grabbed me because I was thinking, should I put some decals on this? I've seen some people do that online. I might do it myself. I'm not too sure yet. For the price of this is fantastic because I would think any robot spirits, metal robot spirits of a Psycho Gundam this size is going to be super expensive. So this is really a way to get around that. All right, and let's look at the manual. I'm always a fan of these manuals. I hold on to them. I do have a video up of me going through going through like 20 of my manuals, I think, and I have a lot more, but be sure to check that out. So, as you can see here, relatively easy build. If you look at the runners and all the pieces, they're large, and we can even look at, so here's the back side of not only the waist, but like the back, and you can see it's all one solid piece. That's what lends to that less articulation, but I think it helps keep it sturdy, but also lends to the transformation, which I'll get to here shortly. And just showing just some of the manual, because you could just see how, if you wanted to pause and look, just how easy it is to build this thing. And that's what's kind of fun about it. Sometimes when you get a build that looks daunting, and then as you get through it, you realize it's easy, it kind of makes it a little more fun. Yeah, here's the cool colored photos. I always love it when they do this. Here's a good look at how to do some of the panel lining that I may get into. I'm not sold on it exactly. We can even see there's like the color right there of the gray that actually would be in the chest there for those particle cannons. So that would be where some painting would have to be done. Yeah, red in the thrusters on the back there. And yeah, that's its like transform mode that I'm going to do here shortly. But But yeah, really, if you wanted the specific details, luckily this manual has some good reference shots. So that's fantastic. And then here's the back, just kind of showing some more like the different parts of it as it's transforming. Detail, rear view. Yeah, some cool stuff here. But yeah, let's get into some transformation. All right, and there is it transformed into its alternate mode. Maybe it'd be more fun the second time around, but it was a little awkward. There's a lot of areas where you're just fitting things into place, and so it's not going to be like perfect. You got to kind of mess with it, and I guess that's not too uncommon with this stuff. You know, it's there's that. It's almost like the bad parts of the real grade Zeta, and there's some things that remind me of that because it's like you just got to move it into the right place in order for it to look right. But again, if you're displaying it and you get it just right, you can throw it on your shelf and not worry about it. But you know, this does look cool though. I could almost see if like I was made of money to buy a second one to have just in this mode. You know, it was awkward at first with the hands, but you can tuck them into just an area that there's a gap there. It could have explained that in the manual, but with the Japanese and my impatience, I just moved forward quickly. But like even here, you could see like this is just something that sticks up that connects to that. And so from a certain point of view, it looks accurate, but at certain angles, you can kind of see where it's folding in on itself to do all that. But yeah, I'm just nitpicking just to give some detail. All in all, I really like it. All right, and there we have it. That's the Psycho Gundam, the high-grade Gunpla that is to scale with the other high grades, even the Robot Spirits at that 1/44th scale. So it's very cool to have. It's a cool way to have a really awesome part of the Zeta story in your diorama. Check out the Discord in the Gunpla and Collectibles channel. I've posted my little Zeta shelf, but also there's other members of the community that have posted their builds of the Psycho Gundam because you know, others have got it too, and that's what helped tempt me to go ahead and get this release. But yeah, it's really great considering it's from 2005 because it is accurate to what you see in the show. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think below in the comments, and we'll talk later.